everyone. It's been a long time. Sorry for my break there. I wasn't expecting it to actually be that long. I did have like a crazy weekend. I sat for like 8 hours of tattoo work and had to go into work because I got a promotion. And I work for two clothing labels in LA. And so I went from LA to Morro Bay to get tattooed by my homie Brian Wilkinson at Tiger Monkey Tattoo in Morro Bay once again. And I will actually be doing an episode where I sort of bring you guys into my world a little bit and interview Brian and also interview the owner of Sadie and Sage, my boss Sine. She's amazing, and it's a pretty serendipitous story of me working there and being hired. So I'd love to share it, and I will. But today, I just thought I'd hop on here and do something I've been kind of like musing on lately. And I don't know if you guys have ever really looked into it, but it is a pretty interesting subject in my opinion, and it is the idea or the concept or the reality really of Rh negative bloodlines. So I didn't really think too much about it. I mean, even through pregnancy, like my daughter, you have to be tested in pregnancy because, as we'll talk about, it can affect the fetus if you are Rh negative. But my daughter Gaia is Rh negative, and so once I heard about that, I really had to like find out more, right? So basically, I decided we'd talk a little bit about it today. So, what is Rh negative blood? People with negative blood do not have the rhesus blood group system, which includes many antigens, most noticeably the D antigen. And an antigen is anything that riles up our immune system into making antibodies. And we have a lot, about 50 in our blood. One of the top 5 most important antigens is the D antigen, and if you lack this particular one, you are Rh negative. So that may seem kind of, basic or like minor, but it actually is quite huge. So they don't really know where the Rh negative bloodline came from. And only about 15% of people actually, are Rh negative on the planet. So it is, sort of a minority group. And it's very difficult should you need blood transfusion. And I know how important that can be. My life was saved by a blood transfusion once. So, it's definitely something that I think is worth talking about. Now, there are theoretics, that it like just sort of appeared as sort of like a morphing of our current genetic bloodline. But, they don't really, know, like I said. And so, of course, theorists have all kinds of ideas about it, like the Nephilim of the Bible, the species of giants that once roamed the earth, and of course the alien concept that within the Sumerian, which this bloodline does actually, like find its way back to the Sumerian race. With the otherworldly beings Enki and Enlil coming down and, sort of creating, humans as they are today. It's very interesting. So I'll probably do some follow-up on this on human history and the humanoid species that have come before us and the variety of them. There are so many different ones that are found. And, I find that very interesting alongside the idea of the elongated skull. So I think I'll probably do like a little one on those two topics together as well. But anyway, what does it mean? So Rh negative, if a mother is Rh negative, her womb will like abort a child who is not also Rh negative. I find that totally fascinating. That is like some type of advanced genetic, purity, like wherein it's like the body's like, yo, you're not one of me. Get the heck out of here. And I mean, it's like the Hitler's dream. You know what I mean? Like because they are mostly blonde or red hair, and blue or green eyed, and with like a fair or pale skin. So anyway, I find that to be just fascinating that the body does that. Now, we do currently have, like, you can get a shot to stop the body from rejecting the child. But that is, part of the source of why you used to have to get blood tests before marriage, right? So I just think it's super fascinating. So, some of the individuals with the Rh blood type often have certain characteristics like higher IQ, blue, green, or hazel eyes, reddish or blonde hair, piercing and light sensitive eyes as well, deeper empathetic qualities, unexplained phobias, sensitivity to heat, a highly tuned sensory ability, increased allergies, also a higher incidence of mental health issues, an extra vertebrae or rib, low, either really low or higher than average blood pressure, low pulse and a low body temperature, resistant to a certain pathogens or like sicknesses like toxoplasmosis, larger than average head and forehead, unclonable blood, and a tendency towards healing professions. So I thought that was super interesting. Let's see. Another interesting fact is that according to a study regarding sexual orientation, a high proportion of homosexuals are actually also Rh negative compared to heterosexuals. So apparently, the chromosome 1, where Rh factor is determined, and chromosome 9 have a relationship, with the sexual orientation, because they are finding that is indeed genetic now. So a theory presented on ancient origins, different than ancient aliens, suggests that the Rh negative gene represents a completely separate branch of humanity that inbred with the original branch of humans out of Africa. So again, they don't know where this came from, and they consider it, like I said, a type of mutation of, the like original humans. But they're saying that it came out of descendants from the Hyperborean race, which is believed to be the original human race. So, again, those who believe this idea also believe that this race was blonde-haired and blue-eyed, and yes, Hitler. Similar to Hitler, who believed in the Aryan race, also blonde-haired and blue-eyed, that it was the superior and supreme race. Some followers of this theory also believe that this race includes most spiritual teachers, including the fairly well-known Mr. Jesus Christ. So, I mean, my grandma, I wish I had a picture of my dad's mother, came from a bunch of kids, like 10 kids or something like that, and literally every single one of them was white-haired and blue-eyed and white-skinned when they were little. And so there's like this whole line of them just getting taller, and they all pretty much look the same. And I think I've told you guys this when I was talking about the Cabbage Patch dolls, but I used to have white hair and blue eyes too, but now I have green eyes and like this sort of brown hair. But it does turn blonde in the summer, so there are these occasions where I do have more blonde hair, but I've never dyed it in my life. So anyway, so some say that 15% of people who have Rh negative blood could be a separate humanoid species from the majority. What? So the Basque people in the Basque area of Spain and France, they actually have the highest percentage of people with Rh negative blood at 30% of the population. So they are also considered the first Europeans. Um, and let's see. So it could easily. So basically, they're saying that at one point the Basque people were 100% Rh negative. Um, so it looks like that as you go back in time, when examining old grave sites, the further back you go, the higher percentage of certain genetic markers become, indicating that this reverse trend might show strong relationship to the ancient Hebrews as well as the Sumerians. So they're actually linking the Basque people to, you know, those ancient groups. They speak an indigenous language, Euskara, not spoken in other parts of the continent and with no relation to the other spoken European languages and or even the whole world. So they have a completely unique language. Um, so this language doesn't belong to the Indo-European group of languages, which makes them really isolated. I just thought this would be a little bit of a fun part about the Basque people. There's some really cute Basque proverbs. So let me read through them. They're super cute. Let us have little, but let us always have enough. Let us agree to disagree. We know that one. Money is the best of servants, but the worst of bosses. Wise. Not all truths are good to say. Not having enough is like not having anything. A good listener needs few words. A promise is a debt, it always has been said. By falling, one learns to walk. That one's pretty good too. I can definitely identify with that because, with the grief and, everything over the last few years, I definitely fell down in this last year, but I have, gotten back up and I'm walking and I'm even beginning to fast walk, you know. Um, that reminds me, I actually do fast walk, when I'm out and I have long legs and my daughter, one time was like, well, Ma, why are you walking so fast? Slow your roll, Karen. And I laughed and laughed. Karen, I'm not a Karen. But anyway, okay, so I mean, it's to me, I just think that it's super interesting, to think about what is that, what is the Rh negative blood type. And I mean, there's just so much about it, but I just thought it was like super interesting to talk about because, again, like I said, they do not know. They have no idea where this came from. And so, I would love anybody to, comment here. But being that I haven't been here in a while, I thought I would just jump on and do like a real quick one on this because I find it to be super interesting. And, the thing is, if you are Rh negative, I think O negative is actually considered the blue blood of the royals, where they would actually like marry their siblings to keep it pure, which is also something interesting because I don't know about you guys, but I really think that all the governments are hiding the same secrets, okay? And that they actually know a lot more about us than they're willing to put off, that they're willing to share with us. And so maybe they know something about this Rh negative. And I also find it interesting because when, the rulers of Egypt, the mummies, while the people, have the darker skin and the darker hair, the rulers were said to have blue eyes and red hair. So if they were relatable to the Sumerians and the initial, aliens that came down from otherworldly beings or whatever you want to call, but to seed humanity with greater intelligence and all of that, like, yeah, it all starts to kind of come together, right? So I mean, I don't know, I think that it's worth thinking about. And like, I mean, like a genetic that actually like assesses the child in the womb of the mother, if it is an Rh positive child, it'll be aborted naturally by the body within a couple of months, and most likely. And so, I mean, that is like advanced DNA in my opinion, and it just really, you know makes you go So I thought I'd just bring it up to you guys as just a little tidbit to maybe inspire some of your own research, because we don't know. There's a lot we don't know. And, I always think that, like, if you can imagine it, it's likely real in some way, or has been. Like, there's humans, like we'll talk about in the humanoid, the Nephilim, and um, that one that I want to do. It's like human history. It is like crazy how many different, just in like South Carolina, or was it West Virginia, between those two. No, it was West Virginia. I apologize. But there's these burial mounds that have 8 feet people of 7 and 8 feet tall. Bones of those, multiple, not just one like freak of nature or whatever, but like, I guess as time went on, it would be just one here and there in these recessive genetics. But it seems to me like it's very possible, because like you can't, like a human can't carry the baby of an ape or whatever. Your body will reject it. The body will reject that DNA out of it not being its own DNA. So, what does it mean that the Rh negative rejects a positive? So, I don't know. Comment down below if you got some ideas that I haven't mentioned or that I have mentioned. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it kind of short today. I might jump back on this weekend and do a collective reading, because I did get a little feedback that would be cool. So I'm going to try to toss those in here and there. And then I will have a full week next week, I promise. Just take this week as a little bit of an opportunity to catch up. I do appreciate you guys being here with me always. And please like, please share, please subscribe. Please comment if there's anything that you want to talk about, because I'm down. Your girl's got you. So, let me know. All right. So, all right, you guys. Well, I will come back tomorrow and in the evening maybe, and do a reading. Maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening. Who knows? We'll see. But anyway, love to you all. Thanks so much once again, and I'll shout at you soon. Bye.